So in today's client interview, I'm interviewing Kaylee Taylor. Kaylee is a holistic health coach inside of the Consulting Blueprint community. And before she joined the program, she couldn't really charge the rates that she desired to charge. She was having a hard time justifying a higher ticket rate because she didn't really know how to sell health coaching. It just kind of felt like more of a commodity than it did something worth paying a high rate for, which is what a lot of people struggle with when they're in a niche as commoditized as health coaching and things like that, fitness, performance, whatever. So we actually helped her kind of change the way she thought about her offer, which changed the way her prospects thought about her offer, which allowed her to charge more. And then recently, following our sales ideas and sales script and sales training and more, in her own words, you'll see in the interview, in her words, the attitude that we approach sales with, she was able to have 4 for 4 in a single day, 4 sales calls, 4 of them closed in a single day, making it her first $8,000 day, which is a record day for her career selling, holistic health coaching. And, when I posted this testimonial on my personal Facebook wall, I got tons of messages from especially other women that are in the health coaching niche that didn't even know you could generate that much selling health coaching. And of course, Kaylee's got some tricks up her sleeve that not even the Consulting Blueprint program provides. Like, she's got this software that helps you, address somebody's specific health needs and things like that. So she's got these little tricks up her sleeve. But the Consulting Blueprint we're able to do for her is help her raise the prices of her program, increase the client experience while doing so, change the way she saw her sales process, and help her get more sales calls for her offer completely organically. And so now she's wanting to scale to anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 a month. That's her goal in the next 6 months or so. And she sees us being able to help her get there, which is really cool. So I just wanted to welcome Kaylee Taylor to the YouTube channel. It's gonna be a really interesting video, and I encourage you to watch this all the way through for various reasons. But one in particular is that, Kaylee had a really, really hard time with the sales aspect of, running a consulting business. And a lot of people do. A lot of people are really scared to have those calls and have those conversations. They don't really know how to handle them. And, I remember my first sales call, honestly, I want to make a video about it soon. I want to make a case study of my first sales call to today, how I see them completely differently now. But my first call, I put a bunch of pressure on myself, and I put a bunch of pressure on the prospect, and it wasn't good. They didn't buy, and we came away from the call, with a lot of tension. And I remember going to bed that night, like, stressed and anxious. And it totally painted a horrible picture in my head of what enrollment looks like and what it looks like to speak to a potential client to work with. And so, I didn't have a sales coach. I didn't have anybody ahead of me really teach me how to do this stuff. So I didn't know what I was doing, and I was overwhelmed. I was stressed. I was sweating. I literally remember my palms sweating on when I was talking to the prospect. And it is a really nerve-wracking thing. And so we've been able to help Kaylee, get past a lot of the fears that come with sales, which is really, really cool. And now not only is she selling consistently and enrolling clients consistently, but she's doing so with a level of grace and empathy and humility, which I think is really important to maintain a solid client experience. So welcome to the YouTube channel, Kaylee Taylor. It's gonna be a lot of fun interviewing her today, so watch the whole thing. And look, if you are wanting, and if you are ready, more like, it's a better word, if you are ready to start or grow your own online consulting business using your expertise or your previous experience, or just selling your story. For example, my mom now is going to start a consulting business on how to homeschool your kids. I was homeschooled. And so she's going to start this business helping other moms learn how to homeschool and create a home environment like what I grew up in, which I think is really cool. So there's all kinds of angles you can come at the market with. So if you have any sort of previous experience or any sort of a transformation in your own life, or if you've gotten results in any arena in your life, there's friends of mine that literally sell video game coaching online, which I think is really cool, like getting really good at video games. There's people in our program that sell YouTube ads training. There's people in our program there's a couple in our program, Sam and Miranda, that help other couples learn how to be effective entrepreneurs while being married. So how to balance your marriage and running a business. So there's really a million angles. There's no end to the opportunity. What you really need to know how to do is generate consistent meetings, which is the first thing we knock out for you in the program. Even some of our worst clients will get at least a sales call a day following our organic strategies, okay? You need to learn how to sell and position yourself as the authority and actually serve the client and show that you do know how to solve their problems and can, and then knowing how to get them to commit to your full process and actually being a great consultant and a great service provider for them. At which point, it's all about maintaining the relationships and then scaling your service delivery from there. So, you can look at my business for an example, but we've built a whole team and a whole process and a lot of systems to allow us to support the some 250 or 300 clients that we currently serve. So anyway, long tangent, welcome to the channel, Kaylee. Kaylee, welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. It's been really cool working with you inside the Consulting Blueprint. You've been a star student. People really love what you're up to. They love your niche. They love your attitude. You add a lot to the calls, and we just appreciate your presence. And so congrats on your success. I know today, just before we kicked off this call, it's funny to kind of contrast maybe my intro and the title and like how hyped up it might look. Like, you're having a pretty cruddy day today, and that's okay. Like, I think, I don't know, how many calls did you have today that didn't close? Two? Yeah. So the pendulum swings, you know, but I did want to capture what happened recently in your business where, you know, I think you had your first $10,000 month and you had like a 4-for-4 day. I don't know how much of that was related to our sales script and our training. Just kind of walk people through what your experience has been and what you've gotten out of the program, and maybe some lessons for some of the viewers, because you've really been growing really quick and we've gotten you to raise your prices, which is awesome. So just walk us through how it's been.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. Like the accountability, the support. You guys have done some forums, and I've already said this before, but it's like you're getting the one-on-one support without the one-on-one price tag, which I think is really cool. So if you're just starting out, I think this is a great option. And I had a one-on-one coach just before this, and I'm getting more accountability from this program than I was from her. Like your guys' daily calls are amazing. And when it comes to the script, I think the biggest thing was the culture, just like what you teach about being genuine, wanting to help them, and believing in your own offer. Like if you don't believe in your own offer, then how are you supposed to sell it, kind of thing. So it seems like a no-brainer, but seeing how genuine you are and how chill you are, I think I brought that up as well. It just felt super chill, and people like that when it's not super scripted. So that was like the biggest thing for me, is just being super genuine, letting them know if you think your program is going to actually help them or not. And yeah, so I think that was the biggest thing, is just not forcing it and not being, because I think that's where a lot of like the salesiness comes from, is fitting something that doesn't work, or trying to sell someone who you can't help, right? So
in the back of the prospect's head, they know what you're trying to do, and it just like ruins the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think taking your script, kind of tweaking it a little bit to my niche, which is like health coaching. I know I didn't really do an introduction, but I do a lot of holistic health coaching. So I help people with sleep, nutrition, training, basically anything that they need help with health-wise. So taking your script, changing it a little bit. There was a couple things from my previous script from a past business coach that I kind of liked. So I did a little bit of a hybrid, but a lot of the things in your guys' script I really liked. And so that paired with the culture that you guys teach in Consulting Blueprint worked really well for me, as well as the health chart as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So walk me through then kind of what you do for your clients, what exactly you're selling, and kind of what made you make the investment into CB in the first place. Like I remember our initial consult call, and you were even a little hesitant at that point. It felt like you were just making sure everything was the right fit, like this was the right place to be and everything, which I always respect when somebody's like that, right? So walk me through, like, I guess, what made you make the investment, and then also what it is that you specifically do and sell, because I think people are interested maybe to understand like the diversity of the niches and offers that we're able to help, capitalize on for our clients.
Yeah, so I can go over my offer first. So I have a 3-month commitment kind of health coaching kind of deal. And so what we do is it's half self-assessed with weekly huddles, weekly check-ins, that kind of stuff. And I help them with basically anything that results in brain fog, not sleeping well, stress. So I'm not really like in one niche. Like I'm not like a gut health expert. I'm not like a sleep expert. It's almost like a total life rehabilitation kind of thing to get people unstuck and to really start sleeping better, start digesting food better, just anything that has to do with health, really. And it's really like one system. I think that's where a lot of coaches go wrong, is that if they just focus on the gut but not focus on sleep, then it doesn't really matter anyways. So I think that's why the results of my program have been so good. So that's a little bit more about my offer. And I think the reason why I went with you guys, well, the first thought was that someone recommended you. actually. And I was like, oh yeah, Trey, because I used to coach you. And I completely forgot about you, if I'm just being honest. And then
I was in a program and you were a coach for their program. This was probably like a year and a half ago. So it was crazy to see you come around for sure.
yeah, for sure. So I used to coach Trey with kind of health stuff. Forgot about you, and then I was talking to a buddy of mine who is a closer for another program, and I was like, yeah, like my one-on-one coach, she's closing her books, and I really need like a little bit more support because at that point she really helped me get my program off the ground. So she helps me with like market research, copy, my sales page, and then just building my offer. And then right when it came down to learning how to sell it, she kind of just like dipped out and said that she was closing her books. And so I was like, crap, but that's like the biggest thing that I needed to learn was the sales aspect, because that was like the thing that I was the most uncomfortable with. So I was talking to my friend Matt, and he was like, well, why don't you reach out to Trey? Like he's been doing really good. His program's doing really good. And so the referral was huge. And I know you've been getting a lot of referrals, right? That's like a big.
Oh yeah, they're huge for us, which
For
is really
sure.
cool. Like I don't know anybody in the market. Kind of like to pat myself on the back a little bit. Like I don't
Mhm.
know anybody that's getting as many referrals as we do, especially in our industry with our market, with our price tag. Like we get crazy
Yeah.
referrals, which is really cool.
Well, the accountability is so big. Like I said, like I'm getting more accountability in like one-on-one time now than I was with my one-on-one coach.
And I think people look at our model and they almost question like the separation I've created from like the bulk of the CB program. They're like, oh, but Trey, like, isn't it unethical to like step back? But I think you firsthand experience the power of having coaches that actually specialize in specific arenas and
Oh my
how,
God, totally.
in my view, it's actually a better client experience for a student than it is for me to have all the answers to all the questions. So
Yeah.
like you got off a call recently with Dylan about like messenger strategy because you're getting crazy engagement, by the way. Like
Yeah.
congratulations, you get hundreds of likes and tons of leads and like your pipe is filling up, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
Um, but it was messenger that was like the block for you
Yeah.
and your setter as well as what it seemed like. So I think we encourage you to find a setter. And so like Dylan on our team can specialize in that, and then Jeremy can specialize in sales and
Exactly.
operations, and then I can kind of help our clients connect all the dots and have
Totally.
your picture. And it's almost like it's crazy. I just interviewed Kim Blanc in our community. He's the interview that's going up that just went up before ours is going to go up
Okay.
here. And he moved from one-to-one to group, and he experienced that his clients actually got better results after they moved to group for the same
Oh,
reason.
I totally agree. I think now that I've done one-on-one coaching in the group that I was coaching you in, and then doing my own group coaching program, it's insane. Like the power of knowing that other people are struggling with them and
Yes.
that they know that they have the power to change and they see other people getting results. Like I think that's so much more superior than one-on-one coaching, in my humble opinion. So I totally agree. I think group coaching is amazing.
Yeah, it's done a huge thing for our community. We've got the live event coming up. People are like really hyped on being there, and it just kind of feels bigger than me at this point, which is
Yeah.
really, really, really cool. And I've always wanted to have a business that's like that. So
Yeah.
that said, Kaylee, I mean, what's the future of business look like? I know you're doing like currently you had your biggest day was like 8,000 contracted in a day. I don't know if it was an 8,000 profit day, but you closed 4 for 4 and it's a 2,000 program. So I don't know what exactly that looks like. That's a pretty sweet day.
For sure.
What does the future look like revenue wise? What are you aiming at, and how do you plan to allow us to continue to help you get there? What areas are going to be growing in, and where do you project yourself being, say, 6 to 12 months out, like revenue wise, client results wise? Kind of what's the vision for your business, and how are we helping you get there in your eyes?
Yeah. So right now, I would say the highest month I've had was 10,000, which was either last month or November. And so that's been really cool kind of doing that. Definitely like kudos to you guys. I don't think I could have done it without you guys. So that was really cool. So hopefully I can get 10,000 again. That's the plan. But yeah, so 10 has been my highest month so far, but I just hit that within the last like couple weeks. So I would say moving forward in like 6 months or so, I would love to see myself around the $30,000-$40,000 range. That's kind of the goal I told you on our discovery call. And yeah, I think I would be totally happy at that point. So that's kind of my goal 6 months from now. So
All you really got to do is raise your prices.
yeah, raise my prices, get my setter, get him going, and then sales calls, get that kind of nailed in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know it's a super easy process. And one thing that's kind of crazy is no one is different. than each other. Like you're no different than I am. And it's just a matter of just doing what the coaches say. Because I'm a coach and I have clients. And the differences between my star clients and the people who are not getting results, not reaching their goals, is they kind of like half-ass everything. Like they kind of cherry pick what they want to do, or they kind of do it sometimes. And if you do it sometimes, then you're going to get sometimes results. And so with like working with you and Dylan and Jeremy and going through all the modules, like I just do exactly what you guys say. And I think that's why I'm able to hit $10,000 months within like a couple of weeks of working with you guys, 8K a day. So, and I'm sure you've noticed that, like I try and join as many calls as possible. I try and like interact as much as possible. And I think that's why. So.
And what it does too is it puts me and my team in a place of accountability. Like, as long as we're bringing on people that are like ready to do what we tell them to do and to take a lot of action, then it forces us as a team to have good processes. So one thing to think about too for you, Kaylee, is like on your discovery calls when you're enrolling clients, or at least when you're picking the clients to enroll. It's not like, I don't see it as like a sales process. Like I see it as an enrollment and commitment process. It's like making sure that they don't just financially pay, because that's like one level to the sale. The other level, that's like the first level. The second level is like the actual commitment to the process. And so the job of the team and myself when we're speaking to people isn't just to like, and like even for the viewer right now, if you're to book a call and we see that you're a good fit, like we're not just going to be like, all right, here's the price tag, here's what's included, like yes or no. It's more like, here's the process you need to be ready and like almost like mentally and emotionally willing to go down over 6 to 12 months. And here's everything we expect from you, and here's kind of how this is going to go. And same for you, Kaylee, it's going to help you raise your prices, because people see that like, okay, this isn't just I'm paying Kaylee for her time. It's like I'm paying to have certainty in the process that I'm walking down, right? In the outcome, essentially. So yeah, it's really cool to see. Like, honestly, I think a lot of people have this idea, like I posted your like result, your 4 for 4 sales day on my Facebook wall. And I got messages from like 3 women who were like also in a similar niche, and they didn't even know you could make more than like 1 or 2 grand a month doing health coaching on the side.
Gosh.
I was like, and I'm like, it's such a foreign thing that we do, and I just forget about that sometimes.
It's
about it.
It's really, I would say, like this kind of high ticket offer business model, I think is super common with like e-commerce, marketing agencies, maybe other business coaches, but like in the health world, people are so used to like the $200 a month, like monthly payments. The high ticket offer is so foreign to them. And it was foreign to me as well. And I have friends back home that are personal trainers, and they charge like $100 per month, and they do a lot of the stuff. I mean, not a lot. So they do like training. They don't do like gut health and sleep. So it is like based off how much value you're giving the client. But at the same time, there are like little things you can tweak to make your offer a high ticket offer. And you can be making way more than $2,000 per month.
What are those things that you tweak and like, maybe help somebody understand what those things have been for you inside the program? Like, what have we added to your offer? Because I think that's going to be a question I will inevitably get unless I ask you here while we're on the call.
So I would say outside of Consulting Blueprint, I think the biggest thing was being just a well-rounded service. Like I said, I don't do just gut health. I don't do just training. I literally do sleep, stress reduction, supplementation, nutrition training. Because if you're in the health niche specifically, the body will not work if you're just focusing on one thing, right? And I'm sure business is kind of the same way as well. So it really has to be a full body system, and you really have to like know what you're doing. So I think that's really important. It's just having experience, having a full body system. And then within Consulting Blueprint, I think the sales aspect was really important, and not just like showing up with a script and not just showing up with like these very market standard industry things, but like the culture and like how you present yourself on the call was really pivotal in Consulting Blueprint. Because I think your business and your team is an extension of you, Trey. And I think everyone on your team seems like really cool, down to earth, like really grounded people. And even like on our sales call, I remember you being like super grounded and kind of like whatever. And if you're here, you know, to get help, then I would love to help you. But if you're not, like, cool. And so that kind of like chillness, like that no pressure sales call is something that I wasn't really exposed to until I kind of stepped into your ethos of Consulting Blueprint. So that was really cool. It's just the culture is a lot different.
How were you running your calls before? Was it more like pressure, or maybe, and I'm sure it didn't even feel natural if that's what you were doing. Was there like a sense of like separation between how you were running them and how you felt like you wish you could be running them if you knew how? Or like, what was, I guess I'm asking, how were you doing them?
Yeah. So the script was a little bit different. So it was very like scripted. I think scripts are super important regardless. But just like the tonalities in them and your mindset beforehand, I felt like really pressured or like just pressured to make it work. And there was certain things in the script that made it not really, it just made it seem like you just want to get the client through, get them signed, and then boom, where it's like on your guys's kind of ecosystem with sales, it's more so about active listening, seeing where they're really at, and maybe not even going on the script if you think something is more natural, to really see what their leverage points are and to really see what they're struggling with. And so before it was like very scripted, kind of just ask the questions, even if they don't even like flow with the natural conversation, because I didn't really get the training to know how to go off the script while still keeping on the line, like the line that Jeremy talks about, or the pathway of taking a client through the sales process. And so that kind of improv training in Consulting Blueprint was really cool, because through kind of your modules and then talking to Jeremy on like his weekly Q&A calls, you guys are really big on just active listening, seeing where they're currently at, seeing how your program can genuinely help them, and if it can't, turn them down. And so that was really important, because before, I think the goal was just sign the client, sign, get them on, no matter what the cause is. So that, I think if that's like how I can describe it, that would be like the best way to explain how it was before.
Yeah.
So.
It's like that scripture, like let your yes be yes and your no be no, right? So I say like that's my favorite like principle from the Bible on sales. It's like if you say yes and you mean it and like you can help them, the prospect's gonna feel that.
Yeah.
And if you say but you have to in the background be saying no to prospects that you can't help, so that when it does come time to say yes, the prospect gets a sense that you are actually like picking the right people. Because if in your head you are doing that, then like that's it, and so it's like literally at this point, when we know we can help somebody and we invite them into the program, it's like 80% of the time they join. So the reason we close, I not even like the word close, like the reason we enroll like 30, I think like 37% or 40%, somewhere around there, is because like, the majority of the time we're like, hey, join our wait list. Like you need to do these things first, or, maybe you're not the right fit right now, or even sometimes they just got a really messy life. Like there's no way they could commit to doing this right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just a waste of their time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your team's resources. And it just puts a layer of like transparency that I think clients really like. So
yeah, no doubt.
For
Well,
sure.
cool. So what's your advice maybe to other health coaches? Because I think, whenever I put like a niche in the title, people in that niche always end up watching the video. So we're going to get a lot of health coaches or holistic health or sleep coaches or, diet, sort of that angle to the industry. What's your advice to these people? Because, I know this is your first month doing it, but $10,000 in a single month is like a big deal. And, that's more than a full-time income. That's livable. That's a lifestyle business, and it's an incredible thing to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your advice to those people that like, because, I always say on their YouTube, I'm like, I want you to be able to grow your business, whether you work with us or not, whether you join the CB program or not. Like, I want you to have clarity on the next steps. So if you could just download that 20% that got you 80% of the results from your experience with us to people, what would those things be that would allow them to grow their health consulting business just a little bit quicker or, with more certainty?
Yeah, that's a great question, Trey. I would say the biggest thing is that you were the first business coach, I guess you can say, or group that said not to have an avatar. And I thought that was super interesting because it does put you in this box. And I think especially in the health niche is if you know how to get rid of brain fog and digestive issues and headaches or whatever the symptoms are, like don't have this avatar of an ideal client, because if they have any of those symptoms, like help them, because if you know you can, then do it. Don't just work with women, don't just work with men. I think having kind of a broader audience, but just knowing if you can help them if they have the symptoms is really big. And then also doing like a full body system, I think, like I said, to get like true, because one of the things I really like in your modules, I think it was one of the first ones, is like the 10% lens rule, where it's like, if you have less than 10% complaints, then focus on scaling, focus on sales and marketing. If you have more than 10% of your clients complaining, then you should be focusing on your offer, the results you're getting, their success. And so my results have been just so good. My offer is solid. And I think the reason being is because I don't just focus on gut health. I don't just focus on sleep. I don't just focus on nutrition. I try and involve my whole practice with everything. I say that I don't take chronic illnesses. So if someone's dealing with like lupus or like cancer, things that are super, super chronic, I will turn them down. But if you are just like an average Joe and you just want to fix your sleep, get more energy, get rid of the brain fog, balance your hormones, then I will help you. And I think having that like broader spectrum has worked really nicely, because if you just focus on gut health and you're a gut health coach, but then their sleep is lacking, or they're not, or they're training wrong, then the work you're doing on their gut doesn't matter anyways. So if you're a health coach, I would really recommend to get rid of that avatar, get rid of your specific niche, and just go all in with knowledge and never stop learning, because that's super important. And do like a full body system, because I think that's why my results have been so good, is that I focus on all those kind of things. So
Good. Good. And one thing I would almost add, like as your coach, I feel the need to say, like, outcome driven thinking in sales and marketing. A lot of people, the mistake that I see a lot of people in your niche do, because it is a very technical thing, health is a technical thing. There's a lot of, there's a lot to measure. But in the program, I don't know if you've heard me use this phrase, and I don't know if it's like crude or not to you, but it's like, I call it the paint me like one of your French girls, like buyer's mentality. Just like, I see the outcome. I don't even know what's involved. I just want you to do for me what you did for them, you know? And so like for a lot of health coaches, I'm like, my advice to a lot of them, and I think it's in a way you've gotten this advice, maybe not verbatim said this way, but get crazy results for a handful of people, and then don't even talk technical on the front. It's just say, look, this is where they were, this is where they are now. And it happened in this time frame. And if you want results like this, message me. I think a lot of the problems, a lot of consultants have this problem, and not just the health niche, but especially in the health niche, I see a lot of people making this mistake. They talk tech on the front all the time. They talk, eat these foods, don't sleep like this, or, here's a good rhythm, or, honor your circadian rhythm, and these concepts. And they're great concepts, but the problem is a confused buyer will never buy. A confused prospect will never buy. And so when you put out that information, the decision has to be as simple as, I am not where I want to be. I want to be where these people are. What's the price? And so I think if you can really simplify your message down to that level, and that's why I'm doing my job as kind of the head marketer of my company. I'm putting tons of testimonials out there. I'm putting tons of results. I'm just sharing and showing what this program can do. We've got another 7 interviews lined up. Like I've got like one every other day for like 2 weeks now. And it's just because, my job, I see my job as first and foremost to get you guys tangible results. And that solves all of our problems as a company, because then we can just share those results and people will see, and then we get messages like what I got today. I had this lady, her name's Grace. She's actually in the health niche. She saw your testimonial. She wants to join our program. And she's like, all right, like I want to be involved. Like, how did you do that for and so, and that happened with like, for example, David Mormon. He's in the home service niche. He helps home service businesses build teams. all of a sudden we had an influx of like 8 or 9 people that are in the home service business that help people build teams. And so, yeah, I love that idea of you don't have an avatar, and to maybe crystallize that for our viewers. What I mean by that is have an outcome you generate, and your market will make its own avatar. So whoever you end up showing, you will attract more people like them. So like the outcome I generate is getting you to 20, 30, 40,000 a month in your consulting business through the consulting blueprint, build your offer, sales, marketing, etc., and help you. Maybe it's escape the 9 to 5 or scale up your existing business, whatever it is, and build a legitimate business online selling your advice and services. That's the outcome.
Yeah.
The avatar is all over the place. You know, you're one of very few women we've interviewed on YouTube, and I've made a point. I'm like, I need more women because you guys are so much more empathetic as coaches. And so if I can empower you with the sales and marketing strategy, it does things. It's so powerful. Yes.
Okay, I have to say what you said for the last like 5 minutes is freaking golden advice. I still do this where it's so technical on the front end, and obviously I'm in the health niche, so like 99% of my Instagram who I'm following is all health coaches, and that's all I see is just painstaking graphics, reels, just all of these graphics explaining every like little detail, like take this vitamin or this vitamin. And yeah, it's confusing. That's like one of the number one struggles that people come on when I hop on a discovery call. They're just like, there's so much noise and it's so confusing. And I think showing the results and showing like, this is what my program does is such a better use of just your time, because no one wants to be posting infographics about health every single day. Yep. Right. That's just like one way ticket to burnout. And I know that because all of 2020, I was so burnt out. And so, yeah, just content, like just, I think like work smarter, not harder is like obviously super ideal in every aspect, but in content, especially, I think that's like such a better way to minimize your workload and not have to be posting every single day, and just post results, post testimonials. So yeah, I think that's great.
It's been a great interview. I appreciate your time. I think this has been some good stuff, and I'm looking forward to a update interview when you're at that 30, 40, 50 a month level. It won't be long. Like really, all I have to do is get your setter doing his job, get you to raise your prices, and maybe introduce like a solid upsell on the back end. I don't know. We could talk about that.
Yeah.
But we're here to serve you, Kaylee. You're a welcome member of the CB community. We really love having you, and I want you. So. Anything you leave the viewer with? Is there anything that comes to mind that you maybe before the call started you had in mind to share before we end off, or are you pretty much good to go?
Yeah, I think one thing that I used to struggle with a lot as a female coach is that just stay in touch with your femininity. Like that is such a big thing, because I think as a woman in I don't want to say male dominated space, because it is kind of balanced, but in a masculine energy space where you do have to be in your masculine a lot to run a business, to make decisions, to run a team, to do sales, to be logical and learn all these different technicalities, is to stay in touch with your femininity, because that's something that I lost when I was running a business. And when that happens, like everything else becomes out of balance. So I think that's really important to stay in touch with. And I think, how you stay in your femininity is a little bit different compared to everyone. But whatever that looks like for you, like stay in touch with it, because it's like, yeah, when I was so burnt out and like nothing helped. So.
Yeah. Wow. That's great advice. That's great advice. And I got to tell you, like, obviously I'm not a woman, so I can't sympathize, but I can't empathize, but I can tell you how many times we've worked with women that have, and because we're men, I'm a man, we're a team of men, and so I'm aware that we have a worldview that doesn't always synergize. And I think that would be my advice for any women coming into CB. Like, you've got a gift, and I think as a woman, and some people would call me sexist, but honestly I don't care, as a woman you have more natural given empathy, and you can use that such an incredible way as a consultant that I had to develop. You have to understand, I had to develop that skill. I had to really work to and so I don't know, I think it's a gift. I think it really is. And I think if you can channel it well, it positions you in a way that a lot of men just can't be positioned with this business model. Because myself, if I don't check myself, I think purely numbers, I think purely data. I don't think about people, like, and that's just not a good place to be and stay, and so I have to be in touch with my own feminine in a way of like, empathize. Like when I log into the wins channel, I have to like get down off my high horse and like feel what these people must be feeling to be getting these results. And then
Yeah.
when I'm in that stage, I can make such better decisions as a leader and as a coach and as somebody that's trying to lead this community. So
Yeah.
that's good advice. I think it's really good advice, especially for the women and especially for people who are wanting to join our program or one like it.
Yeah.
One run by a man, because there are things that we won't naturally see.
Yeah.
So
And I will say one thing, if I can give them like a tangible way of like practicing this in business, is obviously like do yourself up, try and like look good, whatever that is for you, get into nature. But one thing that really stuck with me is just being more in a flow state. So when I was first doing business, it was a lot of having routines, having structure, having your days planned, having a morning routine, a wind down routine, plan tomorrow, today, like all of these just like structures. And as a woman, you can still run a business, but be in a flow state. So like my mornings look completely different. One day I'll sleep until 8 and then I kind of have a short morning and then I just jump straight into work because that's what my body needed. Some days I feel like waking up a little bit earlier around 6:37, journaling and then listening to music, walking my dog and then starting work. So like my mornings are different, my days are different. And as women, I think we're a little bit more emotional based, not logical based. So really I plan my days around my emotions. So do I feel like taking an easier day? Do I feel like, really like getting shit done? So as long as you're still productive and you have systems in place, and you are working smarter and efficiently and you're not distracted by your phone, you can definitely still run a highly profitable business while having like little structure, little routines, and just going based off day to day. So that's what's
Well, if
working.
you have to decide to change niches, I think I know which one you'll go into. I think that message is really needed.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
Well,
yeah.
thanks for your time. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for being on the channel. And I'm sure, there'll be a lot of people wanting to join CB to get to meet you and be ready for an
I
influx
love
of
that.
business people wanting to connect and share notes and such.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, Trey. It was awesome to kind of talk about this kind of stuff. So thank you for having me.
For sure. And it won't be long before, I know you said you wanted to scale up your business a bit further before you do it, but it won't be long before we have like a bonus Saturday call where you're kind of sharing what you've learned from your clients inside of CB. This is one thing I love to do. When we have an expert and their expertise kind of applies to the CB group, like I love just having you guys share on a bonus call. So it won't be long before we serve the whole community with what you're learning, the frameworks you develop with your clients. So
Totally.
your trust, your investment, Kaylee. It's been a lot of fun working with you, and I'm sure there's another 2 or 3 interviews to come of growing further. So
Yep, I'm so committed. Well, thanks for having me on, Trey.
yeah, thank you, Kaylee. I'll see you.